Everybody, and welcome to the channel and welcome to the Ultimate Racing League. For those that tune in on a regular basis, you'll know that I normally cover races from Wednesdays and Sundays and the occasional Saturdays, but I've been talked into covering this one, which is our very first Tuesday 60-minute race, and we are in the Group 2 cars. So yeah, something different. Normally doing GR3s, Group 3s, however you want to say it, Group 4s, but we are on the Group 2 cars. For those who play the game on a regular basis, you'll see we are at Watkins Glen International Circuit in a little town called Dix, which is actually in Watkins Glen near New York. It's excellent track. I love this track myself. Hosted F1 for 20 years from 1961 to 1980, so a fantastic track. There's 11 turns on it. It's 3.4 miles long, and there's a chicane. Now they don't actually count the turns at the chicane. There are 4 turns, 4 corners in the chicane, but in the track guides they don't count that, so they just say there's 11 turns. So it should be an exciting race, especially in these cars, extremely quick cars, and that chicane will throw up all sorts of shenanigans, I'm sure. Talking of cars, the guys are all in one make. It's the Lexus RCF GT500 GR2. So yeah, looking forward to this one. Just before we get started, I'm just waiting for the guys to start qualifying. They are just practicing warming tyres up at the minute, so just while they're doing that, I just want to give a shout out and a thanks to our sponsors, and that's W.GG, the energy drink for gamers, and also EAC, which is Eldridge Air Conditioning. So thanks to those guys for sponsoring us for this season. If you do enjoy this sort of content, then please, if you could hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, then please do so. It does help us out. It does help the channel out. We would really appreciate it. So I just want to get into one of the cars, and we're just going to wait for the qualifying to start. We've got about 10 minutes of qualifying, I think. So we'll get out on track. We'll go through tyres, etc., etc., as we go along. So the guys are now just going out, do the warm-up lap. You can see it looks like Graham's already picked up a penalty. That's probably coming out of the pit lane. This track notorious for picking penalties up. It was Chuck that picked the penalty up, so Smoky Tom out there, all the guys in their colourful liveries. I don't think there's a theme to the livery. It literally is whatever you want. For the guys that are watching, if you give us a shout out, I can say hello to you. Let's get some of this on. There we go. So this is the warm-up lap. We'll go through track names, corners, things like that as we go along a little bit. This is week 1, as I've said. I think there's about 8 rounds in this Tuesday championship. So yeah, week 1 at Watkins Glen, the full course. All tyre compounds are to be used during the race. I believe it's a minimum of 1 lap on each tyre compound. As long as you've used them all, then you can use whatever you like after that. As we see Grasshopper just doing exactly that, hopping across the grass. Bit of a shortcut for Grasshopper. Good job it's the outlap. So we'll start seeing the times coming in very shortly. It looks like Dizzy Rip has started out on a hot lap. He's got his teammate just behind him, so maybe Smoky Tom is going to get a bit of a tow from Dizzy Rip to get a decent qualifying time. So these guys may be helping themselves out. That could be part of the plan. Tiju, hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I do apologise. I do believe Tiju, I do believe Zhu is from Holland. Now I do actually understand, we have some guys from a different racing league, which is absolutely fantastic to have them here for tonight's race. And they're from the BFER or BFR racing team. So yeah, fantastic to have those guys in, and Zhu is one of those. We shall pick some of the other guys out. I think Willard, as you can see there, 7th currently. BFER Willard is the other one. So the guys now out on their hot laps. Timer going, and as they start to turn around 11 onto the start finish straight, this is where the times will start coming in now. So currently Smoky Tom has got provisional pole with a 134.7. Zhu has got a 136. You've just seen that pop up there on the left. So it's currently Smoky Tom out there with the fastest lap. Kebab Man's has got a 137, Hodgie a 136 I think it was. Get these tyres up to temperature. Now you can start on any compound of tyres, so all the guys I presume are going to be out there on softs. Willard with a 137. So we can see Smoky Tom currently on pole position with Zhu just behind him. Graham is in 3rd currently. Then we have Chuck. Hello to the guys watching. Chuck with a 136. We've got Paul with a 136. So that time of Smoky Tom's, the 134, is a pretty fast time. We'll just follow Hodgie through as we're going around the toe, which is turn 7. Smoky Tom still with the provisional pole. You can just see Kebab Man's getting a bit of a toe from Hodgie. Trying to stay in the slipstream. That's not going to hurt his lap at all as Hodgie pulls over. He's not having any more of that, is he? Kebab Man's goes through. Dizzy Ripper 136. Looks like Grasshopper got a 135. So Smoky Tom still leading the way. With about we've had 5 minutes, so about 5 minutes left. Kebab Man's a 136. We'll go down the grid order at the beginning of the race. Willard 137, Cherry Bomb. It looks like Cherry Bomb's come in. Wasn't on the grid at the beginning. Remember, this is a 60-minute race. It's excuse me, 5 teams of 3 members in each team. Now we haven't got a full grid today, unfortunately. There's been some issues and a few of the guys can't make it. But we've got, I think we've got around 10, 11 guys on track, so there's enough for some good racing to be had, I'm sure. Hodgie picking up a penalty, so this lap isn't going to count for anything. So Smoky Tom still on provisional pole with that 134.7, and it looks like everybody else is kind of struggling to get there. Grasshopper's got a 135.6 is his best. Tiju, well, it's not showing one for him. Paul, his best is a 136.0. Graham a 136.3. Dizzy Rip a 136.4. So everybody pretty close to everybody else. Kebab Man's a 136.8. Brian Moncani 137. Willard a 137, and then Hodgie a 138 is his best so far. Now we do know Hodgie's quicker than that, so it may be just a bit of getting used to the cars. Remember, this is only week 1. So Hodgie He's going to go across the start finish line to start the hot lap. And this is what he wants. So keep this one clean, Hodgie. Currently 3.5 seconds off of Smoky Tom's pace. As I say, we do know Hodgie is quicker than that. You can see some of the guys coming into the pits to take on fresh tyres. Grasshopper's in. So Smoky Tom, with that amazing second lap, he did a 1:34.7, and that's, as I say, put him on pole. It doesn't like he's going to get caught either. Grasshopper currently in second with a 1:35.6. Now Tiju, now ignore the first lap of 1:31, that would have been his out lap. So he's on a 1:36.0, although it looks like it's red, so he may have picked a penalty up for that one. Paul 1:36.0, doesn't seem to be able to better that at the minute. Same with Graham, a 1:36.3, picked that up in the third lap. Not been able to better that. So they will be coming to the end of this qualifying session soon. We've got about a minute left before we get into the main race. So as it stands, we've got Smoky Tom. He's in the pits, doesn't feel like he needs to do any more. Smoky Tom on provisional pole with Grasshopper in second, Tiju in third, Paul is fourth, Chuck fifth, Graham is sixth, or Grahamad Ali is his proper title, but I do like to call him Graham. Dizzy Rip currently in seventh, BFER Willard, one of the guys that have came over from another racing league. Mentioned it earlier. It's fantastic to have them over here for this race. We've got Kebabman's in 9th, and Brian 10th, and Hodgie still down in 11th. Seems to be struggling for pace at the minute, does Hodgie? But it's a long race. It's a 6-minute race, as I've mentioned. All tyre compounds are to be used. Smoky Tom, he says he's just chilling. He's done his bit. He's doesn't need to do any more, so he's just chilling. He's in the pits having a cup of tea and a sandwich, and I don't blame you, mate. I don't think anybody's going to catch you. Grasshopper is the nearest with a 1:35.6, so he is nearly a second off of Smoky Tom's pace. So as for some of the other rules, bump drafting, for those that are familiar with bump drafting, is allowed, but only with teammates. And for those that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, bump drafting is where you catch up to the back of your teammate and you give him a little nudge with the bumper to help push him along. That speeds him up, and it also helps you because you're in the drag then, and you're picking up the slipstream, so the pair of you can go a little bit quicker to either catch up to the guys up ahead, or if you're already ahead, you can get away from the group. So that's roughly what bump drafting is, but you can only do it with your teammate. So any bump drafting with anybody else is strictly forbidden. I think that's pretty much covered the rules. I've mentioned the tyres. Now I do want to say there is a League 2 that's taking place, and if you do want to have a look at that, if you go to ODM, that's OD for David, M for Mother, ODM Sim Racing, Oz is talking us through the League 2 guys, so if you check out YouTube, ODM Sim Racing, you can see what's happening in the League 2 guys, who I believe are in the NSX, so it's a different car, all in the same make, but it's a different model to what's being used here today. We are watching these guys going around in the Lexus, the RCF GT500, the GR2 or GR2 car. Now, I did think that qualifying was only 10 minutes, but I've obviously got that wrong again. And for those that do watch on a regular basis, you'll know that I get lots of things wrong. But it's all for the fun, isn't it? It's all part of it. Tom still in there, chilling out. Oh, they've decided they're going to change the boots on his car. Is he going to go out and have another go? I think he is. So Smoky Tom's going to go out there on a fresh set of tyres just to see what he can do. He's already got the fastest lap and provisional pole. Now then, this is where Grasshopper and Hodgie can work together. As you can see, Grasshopper picking up a bit of slipstream from Hodgie, and the Hodgie lets Grasshopper through. Grasshopper currently in second, a bit flash of the lights there. If he was saying thanks to Hodgie, then Hodgie wouldn't have seen that, would he? I'm not sure Grasshopper knows that, but there we go. So, as it stands, I'm hoping it's only going to be a 15-minute qualifying now. I thought it was 10, but the guys are still going. So, Smoky Tom, provisional pole. Grasshopper in second. Brian Moncani in third. Tiju in fourth. Paul, URL Paul, is in fifth. Chuck is sixth. Graham is seventh. Dizzy Rip, eighth. Willard, ninth. Oh, things changed there. Let's have a look. Oh, Dizzy Rip's dropped to ninth. So, we've got to start all over again now, haven't we? Because Willard has now took that fourth position away. So Willard moves up into fourth. Although he's picked up a half a second penalty. Oh, he's decided that's enough. Greg Smith has said great lap, Smokey, and yeah, I've got to agree with him. A 1:34.7 is a fantastic lap from Smoky Tom. With Grasshopper on a 1:35.0 is the nearest one to him. So we are about 10 seconds away from the 15-minute mark. So I'm not going to say it's a 15-minute qualifying. As Grasshopper decides to go grass hopping again and taking a few of the billboards out. Perhaps he's had enough. It is the final lap, so it is 15 minutes qualifying then. So this is pretty much how it's going to be. Smoky Tom just sitting in the pits now, thinks he's done enough. Grasshopper in second. Brian Moncani currently in third. Willard in fourth, and Tiju. They're the teammates. They're the ones that have come from BFER. I mentioned them early. Tiju, I think he's from Holland, with Willard from Great Britain, England. I don't know exactly where, which is why I say Great Britain, but either way, great to have you with us, guys, for this race. I'm hoping you're going to stay for the season, and apparently it was down to Osman that got the guys over here, so thanks to him. Incidentally, if anybody is watching and fancies having a go, if you think you're as good as these guys, you want to get involved, then visit the website. It's URL ultimateracingligue.com. Get signed up and we can get you racing. We have a Sunday league, we have the Tuesday league, which you're watching now, we have a Wednesday league, there is also ACZ, we've got Thingamajigs Racing Channel. The new flavour of Monster Munch is extremely underwhelming. Okay, fair enough. I'm not a Monster Munch fan myself, so I'll have to take your word for that. So thanks to Ryan for popping up with that one. So it looks like qualifying's finished. So Smoky Tom on pole position there with Grasshopper in second, Brian Moncani third, Willard fourth, Tiju fifth, Paul is sixth, Chuck seventh. Just before I could say any more, Graham, I think where did we get to? Graham is 8th, Dizzy Rip 9th, Kebabman's 10th, Hodgie 11th, and then we've got Cherry Bomb. Now then, I'm not sure if Cherry Bomb is actually joining the race. If he does, he was a little bit late for qualifying, so he may be starting at the back. We shall have to wait and see. So we are just waiting for the guys to get themselves sorted. The mechanics are just going to have a quick once over of the car, try and repair any damage that may have been caused, especially Grasshopper's car, as he did decide to go off road quite a bit during qualifying. And Thingamajig says URL slaps hard. It certainly does. So as I say, if you want to get involved, visit the website. It is URL ultimateracingligue.com. Get signed up and we can get you racing. I think the guys will do ACC. I don't get involved in ACC myself, but I think there is an ACC league as well if you are into the Assetto Corsa. And we did do F1 at some point. Now I'm not sure if F1 is still running, but if you check out the website, then there will be all the information you need in there. You can meet all the other commentators. You can get to see all the races that we've recorded and done commentary on. They're all in there, and all the information you need is on the website. You can also check out the Facebook page. URL Ultimate Racing League Facebook page. A lot of information on there. So yeah, if you want to come and join us, please do, so we can get you out track and you can be involved in races like this. If you look at that, we can see the crowds starting to gather now. They're all getting their hot dogs and their drinks in, ready for the race to start. As it said, we're waiting for the host to start the race, so whatever you're doing, Graham, hurry up. We do want to say thanks to Grahamid Ali for hosting these races. Obviously without him we couldn't show them to you, so many thanks to him, and obviously thanks to the guys on track, because also without them we wouldn't have much of a race, would we? We'd just be staring at a track like we're doing now. I can't even go around the track because unfortunately the camera won't let me. So this is the best I can bring. Now we're gonna have to wait until the guys actually go out on track before we can get to see anything. Hey Ruthless, how are you? Now we seem to be having a few issues, so let's have a look. We'll just wait for the cars to get loaded up. We'll get them out on track and then we'll join it and see where we're at. Some great liveries coming up, as you can see. Now I do believe it is 5 teams of 3 members in each team, although I can only see 2 of each car on there. Now we do seem to be having a few problems getting the room set up, which is always very handy when you're doing a live stream. So Cherry joined late. Yeah, I guessed as much. Cherry Bomb joined late, so I think if Cherry Bomb missed the qualifying, he'll have to start at the back. Now we know Cherry Bomb is quick as well, so he will make his way through the pack, I'm sure. Going to be a tactical race. It's 60 minutes. All tyres have to be used, so some of the guys will be starting on hards. Oh yes, happy anniversary to John. It's his 12th wedding anniversary. So obviously he's having a bit of a date night with the wife, and so he should, instead of racing. So happy anniversary to the both of you. Completely through what I was saying. Yeah, we were talking about the tyres, so it is going to be a tactical race. Some of the guys starting on hard, some medium, some softs. You will have to stop to change those tyres, so I don't know how long it is in the pits for these. It's usually sort of anything from 30 to 50 seconds per pit stop, so you can actually lose quite a bit of time. So tactics will come into this. Obviously the guys on the softer compound tyres are going to take off, and they're going to want to get some distance between themselves and the guys on the harder compounds, just for when they do pull into those into the pits to get the tyres changed. Who do you think will start with hard? Well, I presume that says hard because it's I've only got the H, but I don't know. I don't want to call this one because every time I do I get it completely wrong. I'm going to say Kebab Man's will start on hards, and I know Smoky Tom usually likes to start with the harder tyres and then go through the softer compounds, but so the guys are on track. It is a rolling start, and you can see we've got Smoky Tom in pole, then Grasshopper, Brian Moncarney's third, Willard fourth, Tiju fifth, Paulie sixth, Chuck 7th, Graham is 8th, Dizzy Rip 9th, Kebab Man's 10th, Hodgie 11th, and Cherry Bomb is in 12th. And it just looks like the Kebab Man went a little bit deep into turn 1, and that's allowed Hodgie to get right up alongside. In fact, Hodgie has managed to get his nose in front as they go around these first few turns down towards, this is the back straight towards the inner loop, which is the start of the chicane. Now remember, I said at the beginning they don't actually count the corners on the chicane, but they're through the inner loop, and then believe it or not they come out the other side onto the outer loop, which is turn 5. So around turn 5, down the hill, down the chute it's called, into turn 6, a left-hander, then it's foot down again down the hill, down towards turn 7, which is the toe, a real tight right-hander. Now the penalty zone is up there as well, as Smoky Tom is coming under a bit of pressure from Grasshopper as they go through turn 8, which is the heel. Smoky Tom, Grasshopper side by side, Grasshopper trying to put as much pressure as he can on Smoky Tom. Smoky Tom just managing to hold on to it though through turn 9, a dash down to turn 10, a left-hander. Careful not to drift too far to the right, you will get a penalty. And then into turn 11, back onto the home straight, and that is lap 1 completed. So Smoky Tom still out in front under a lot of pressure from Grasshopper. Grasshopper dives to the inside as they take towards turn 1. Grasshopper gets his nose in front. Remember, you've got to keep it from going to the left. Well done, both of them. That was a great move from Grasshopper. Smoky Tom has not finished though. Let's go on board with Smoky Tom as he gets all over the back of Grasshopper, trying to push him along. He's in the slipstream. Grasshopper doing a great job of defending as they go into the chicane. Oh, as Grasshopper goes very deep, and he's doing exactly what he did in qualifying. He's gone across the grass. So that's Smoky Tom back in front. Brian Moncarney drops into second, with Grasshopper rejoining and going third. So let's just get out of Smoky Tom's car. He doesn't need us in there too long. You can see Grasshopper's picked up a half-second penalty. Now Willard is in there, Paul is in there, Chuck is in there. They are all going to take those push Grasshopper down as Grasshopper slows down to serve his penalty. He is now dropped to 5th to 6th as the rest of the pack go through. So back up to the top, Smoky Tom out in front as he was at the beginning of the race. Brian Moncarney now moves up into second. Willard has moved to third with Paul in fourth, Chuck in 5th, his teammate. Maybe those two are going to work together. There may be a plan for this race, we don't know. Both quick guys, so Chuck and Paul can work together. Grasshopper now in 6th position after that great overtake at turn 1. Graham down in 7th. Now he would love to catch up to his teammates, wouldn't he? Chuck and Grasshopper. I believe it is Chuck and Grasshopper. Yes, it is. So Graham would love to catch up to those guys so the three of them can work together. Dizzy Rip in 8th. Kebab Man's 9th. Cherry Bomb in 10th. Hodgie has started on the hard tyres and has now decided he's coming into the pits to get rid of them. And Tiju, we're not sure what happened to him. We missed it at the start. There was something that's kicked off and that's put him all the way down to 12th. So Smoky Tom still leading the way. Smoky Tom, as I thought, has started on the hards. Now, we did say this at the beginning, Smoky Tom does like to do the harder compounds first, and he's done a fantastic job of staying out in front on the hard tyres. Brian Moncani on the softs. I need to find him because I am going to try and keep a tag of who's on what tyres. So Brian is on the softs, but he does seem to be struggling to catch up with Smoky Tom. We've got Willard sitting in third. Willard also on the softs. Paul. Now Paul has got his own YouTube channel. Paul is a fellow commentator, and he covers one of the Sunday leagues. So if you do want to check that out, you can see his YouTube channel is exactly the same as his name, URL_Paul_E72. So Paul does a great job on Sundays with his comms. Currently sitting in fourth, so he's lost his teammate. Grasshopper's managed to get himself back up into fifth. So Grasshopper also on the soft tyres. I forgot to have a look what Paul is on the soft as well. So Paul with the current fastest lap, 1:36.5. It does help when you get in the slipstream as they're going around the outer loop and down the chute towards turn 6. Let's have a look at Chuck. Chuck has picked up a 1.5 second penalty. I mentioned at the beginning of the race, this track is a bit notorious for the penalties. Now we're just going to stay with Chuck because as we go around the toe, which is turn 7, you start going up the hill, and that is where you're going to hit the penalty zone, and you can see he's hit it there. So in 7th, as Dizzy Rip goes by and Graham goes by. So Dizzy Rip in between the two teammates. Chuck all over the back of Dizzy Rip. Then we go down to the Kebab Man's in 9th. He's with his teammate Cherry Bomb. Now these two need to work together now. There is quite a gap from the back of that second bunch there, so the two of them really do need to get their heads together and start working with each other. This is where the bump drafting can come in. We're not going to see it on this one though, so Cherry Bomb's not going to slow down and wait for Kebab Man's. It's up to Kebab Man's to catch him up. Chuck is in the pits. Well, it looks like he's on his way out actually. So Chuck has gone for a change of tyres, has he? Let's just have a look. He is. So Chuck is now out and he is on the hard tyres. He got rid of them softs very quickly. So back up to the pointy end of this race, and Smoky Tom's still out in front. You can see the fastest laps coming down now. Tiju is got that with a 1:35.5. But our current race leader, Smoky Tom, still showing the way. Brian Moncani in second. Excuse me. Paul has now made his way up into third. So Paul is having a fantastic race so far. Tyres starting to go though. Since the update and in the new physics, tyres do tend to start losing the grip around about 50-60%. So some of the guys, especially those on the soft tyres, are going to start coming in over the next 2 or 3 laps, I'm sure. But not sure fuel is going to be a problem. I think it's going to be more the tyres. Willard for BFER Racing in 4th. He's on the soft tyres, and they really are starting to look worn. Grasshopper made his way up into 5th. He's trying to get in the slipstream of Willard. So let's go on board with Grasshopper as we head down towards the chicane. Just trying to get through there safely. You don't want to take too much of the curve, or it's going to throw you now then. I thought Grasshopper had managed to get himself on the inside of Willard. He still has. Willard's opened the door and Grasshopper's having a look, although Willard now on the inside. If Grasshopper wants this, he's got to go the long way round. He doesn't. He just slots in back behind Willard. Sensible racing from Grasshopper. That could have not ended well. But instead, he's going to sit there. He's going to try and get back onto the back of Willard. He's also trying to put Brian Moncani under some pressure. Well, you can't really see a lot out the back of that, can you? So pointless looking. So these three having a fantastic battle for that third spot. Brian Moncani at the minute though just managing to hold on, although he is coming under a lot of pressure from Willard and Grasshopper. Grasshopper getting right under the bumper now of Willard as they go through turn 11 and back onto the start finish straight. Now Grasshopper, can he make the move on Willard? Is he going to dive to the right and go down the inside? No, he's decided to stay there. He's just going to follow Willard round. So Grasshopper still sticking to the bumper of Willard. All the while these are battling though, Brian's able to just creep away, and you can see we've got a couple of car lengths now between Brian and Willard. So while Willard is trying to defend against Grasshopper, Brian is having it away on his toes. Let's just drop down the order. Graham in 6. He's got Dizzy Rip just behind him. And we're just waiting to see Cherry Bomb come around the corner, but he wasn't there. So there is a bit of a gap opening up between Dizzy Rip and Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb has got away from his teammate Kebabmans, who is currently down in 9th. Now Kebabmans, you can see, which is absolutely fantastic for me now, he is 23 seconds behind Smoky Tom, and he's well, just about 6 seconds behind Cherry Bomb. Chuck in 10th, Tiju in 11th, and Hodgie, he's not having the best of races. Is Hodgie down in 12th. He is much better than this. We all know Hodgie, and he is a quick guy, but he's just not enjoying himself so far. So he has stopped. He's on the medium tyres, is Hodgie. So let's just go back up to our race leader, Smoky Tom, trying to get away from Paul. Paul now in 2nd, Brian Moncani 3rd. Paul about 2.3 seconds ahead of Brian. Do we cover lead 2? If you mean the lead 2 that's running at the minute, if you the guys that want to see lead 2, if you go to ODM, that's D for David, M for Mother, so that's ODM Sim Racing on YouTube, then you can watch the lead 2 guys. Oz is actually covering that one. So anybody that wants to watch League 2, go and have a look at that. Grasshopper now up into 4th after he had that disaster at the chicane in, I think it was lap 2. It was either lap 2 or 3. So he was challenging Smoky Tom. They were having a proper ding-dong battle. And sorry, no, I've not got a link that I can put on there at the minute, Mary. Apologies for that, but if you do a search on YouTube, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. ODM Sim Racing, where Oz is currently doing the commentary for that race. So let's just go down the order then. Cherry Bomb in 6. As we see Paul currently in 2nd. Paul is gone into the pits, so that has now dropped him down to 8th. He's going to come back out as we see the Kebabmans just go through there on Paul. So Paul rejoins in 8th position. Bit of a gap back to Willard, so Paul's not under any pressure at the minute. He can just concentrate on getting himself back into the race, get those new medium tyres up and running. up to temperature, sorry, and make his way back through the pack. Now let's just go back up to our current race leader and see how Smoky Tom is doing on those hard tyres. He is having an absolute storm of the first part of this race. Actually opening up quite a gap now back to Brian Moncani. He is nearly 5 seconds ahead of Brian. Brian currently in second. He's not under any pressure at all from Grasshopper, who is under pressure from Dizzy Rip. So Grasshopper got himself back up into third after Paul had made his pit stop. Dizzy Rip's gone through as well, so Dizzy Rip is trying his best to get onto the back of Grasshopper. Grasshopper, as you can see on the left, is about 9 seconds old, and Grasshopper dives into the pits as well, so Dizzy Rip now takes up that third podium spot. So we've got Smoky Tom in first and his teammate Dizzy Rip in third, and now it looks like Dizzy Rip may well get a penalty for that. He did go very wide there at turn 1. Well, it looks like he may have got away with it, so I think he has. So Dizzy Rip got away with that as he heads down towards the chicane for the 10th time. So into the inner loop, through the chicane, and then onto the outer loop. So Dizzy Rip in third, Brian Moncani second, with Smoky Tom still out in front. Now maybe he has to come in for fuel rather than tyres, but having the time of his life out there at the minute. Cherry Bomb in fourth. Remember, Cherry Bomb was a late entry into this. He did miss qualifying. He's gone out there on the medium tyres and doing a great job so far. So Cherry Bomb up into fourth. Kebab Band's now in fifth. Paul in sixth. Remember, Paul had made a stop, but he has picked up a half-second penalty, which he has just served, so he can get back on the throttle and get after Kebab Man again. He's just coming out, just under 2 seconds away from Kebab Man's. Now we've had a change at the top. Brian Moncani has decided to come into the pits, and he has picked a penalty up as well. So Brian in the pits, taking on some fuel. He's now down in fourth. It's going to be interesting to see where Brian comes out. Not quite a full tank for Brian. Obviously there's a tactics involved in this. We're only 16-17 minutes into this race. Remember, it's a 60-minute race. So Brian is going to rejoin in sixth position, and he is on the hard tyres. So Brian back out in sixth, then carrying a half-second penalty. He's going to be okay though. Willard is just over 3 seconds behind Brian, so Brian should be able to serve that penalty and not lose any track position. Grasshopper now down in 8th. Grasshopper's made a pit as well, remember. He's on the medium tyres. You can just see Chuck in the background there. Chuck now on the hards, with Graham down in 10th. Tiju in 11th and Hodgie in 12th. Now what's happened to Hodgie? Has Hodgie had some sort of mechanical failure or something, as we see Smoky Tom? Well, I'm not quite sure what's happened to Hodgie. We're on board with Hodgie. He seems to have lost all power. I hope he can get that sorted pretty quickly. Otherwise he's going to have to retire. This Hodgie, he's in the way. You can't park there. They're going to need to get the truck out and do something, but Hodgie really needs to move. The unfortunate thing is there'll probably be a yellow flag waving as well with a hazard on the track, but we shall see. The Smoky Tom still yet to pit, out on the hard tyres, doing a fantastic job. Out in front, not quite the fastest lap for Smoky Tom. Tiju's got that honour at the minute with a 1:35.5. But remember, Smoky Tom is on the hard tyres. Dizzy Rip currently in second. Dizzy Rip also on the hard tyres, so these guys are they're going to have to come in for fuel. You can see they're both about half, I don't know, 10% fuel, something like that. So there's the yellow flag, and that's because Hodge's car is parked up on the start-finish line. He is out of the way, he's off the racing line, so it shouldn't be too much of a hazard. But we're hoping Hodge can get that sorted very soon, although he is going to be a couple of laps down on these guys. And we're going to keep seeing that yellow flag until Hodge's car is moved. You can see the fuel light starting to flash now on Dizzy Rip's car. So two teammates, 1 and 2. Cherry Bomb, who was sitting in third, has come into the pits. He's going to get some new boots and some fuel, and then he will be back out. Now let's have a look. He's going to drop a place as Paul goes through, Kebab Bands goes through, Willard's gone through. So Cherry Bomb, is he going to get out in 7th? He may well lose the place to Grasshopper, and he has. Maybe even Chuck. Chuck's gone through as well. So it looks like Cherry Bomb's going to rejoin in 9th. As we see Chuck all over the place around turn 1 and picks up a half-second penalty. So Chuck going through turns 2, 3 and 4, heading down the back straight towards the inner loop chicane. Around the outer loop, down the chute towards turn 6. You can just see Grasshopper up ahead, and Smoky Tom, our race leader, has come into the pits. So Smoky Tom with a 17-second lead over Dizzy Rip. Now where's Dizzy Rip? And Dizzy Rip's into the pits as well. So he's now up to Paul, but I think Smoky Tom might get out of the pits before Paul can get past. It's going to be close as Paul goes across the start-finish line. Now it's saying that Paul is our new race leader, but Smoky Tom may well be coming out of the pits. He is. And Paul's gone through, so Smoky Tom has rejoined in 2nd. So Paul is now taking up the lead of this race. But Paul will have to pit for fuel way before Smoky Tom does. So Smoky Tom slots into 2nd position, 6.5 seconds behind Paul. Brian Moncarney has got himself back up into 3rd again. You can see he's got Willard though coming up behind him very quickly. So Willard in 4th, so let's go on board with Willard as we chase down Brian Moncarney as they go down the chute through turn 6. Still going downhill towards turn 7, known as the toe, and then it's a very long right-hander, not quite a hairpin, not far off though, up the hill towards turn 8, known as the heel. A bit of a theme here at Watkins Glen. It's all a bit shoe or boot related. Now that might be a penalty for Willard. He did go very wide there at turn 8, and he's picked up a half-second penalty as he puts the challenge in on Brian Moncarney. And Willard, he just got his nose in front, but Brian is on the inside. Brian retakes that 3rd position as they go through turn 11. Willard just lost a bit of ground on Brian there as they go across the start-finish line to start lap 15, down towards turn 1, hard on the brakes. Around turn 1, try not to drift too far to the left. You don't want any more penalties. You already got half a second there. Up through turns 2, 3 and 4 onto the back straight. Now Willard, he is just over a second away from Brian, so trying to get in the slipstream. He's just picking up a little bit, but he's not going to get close enough to do anything about it. Into the chicane, through there safely. Just being a little bit careful with the throttle as we go around turn 5 and then back down the chute towards the toe again. So you can just see Willard slowing down, the meter starting to fill up. He will slow down as soon as he hits those chevrons there, the yellow chevrons. And there we go, penalty served. So that's allowed Brian to get that half a second away from Willard. So as we go down the order then, Grasshopper is in 5th. Dizzy Rip and Cherry Bomb fighting it out for 6th position as Cherry Bomb goes on the inside of Dizzy Rip. Dizzy Rip manages to hold on to 6th though, so some great defending from Dizzy Rip. Trying to not open the door for Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb all over the back of Dizzy Rip though. He really wants this, doesn't he? As they go through turn 11 onto the start finish straight across the line. Now can Cherry Bomb get close enough to Dizzy Rip to make a move at turn 1? He's not, he's just staying behind him, trying to keep it nice and tight through there as Grasshopper and Dizzy Rip. Now Dizzy Rip right up the back of Grasshopper. Let's go on board with Dizzy Rip as he tries to challenge Grasshopper. We've got Cherry Bomb pushing him along as well. These three are having a fantastic fight. Grasshopper goes defensive and takes the inside line. You're not going to go too wide through there, surely. No, they all slot in behind each other again. So Grasshopper still in 5th, Dizzy Rip 6th, Cherry Bomb in 7th. Let's come out so we can have a look at these guys as they battle it out for that 5th position. Fantastic racing from these guys. Oh, Dizzy Rip went a bit deep into that turn and that's allowed Cherry Bomb to have a look. Cherry Bomb pulls alongside, he's on the inside now as they go towards turn 8. The right-hander Cherry Bomb gets his nose in front. So Cherry Bomb takes 6th position away from Dizzy Rip, but Dizzy Rip has not finished. He is fighting back, but while these two battle it out, Grasshopper is managing to just creep away from them. Although Cherry Bomb now got his sights set firmly on the rear of Grasshopper's car. As we just see Chop come round turn 11 in the background. So we've got Chuck in 8th, we've got his teammate Graham in 9th. It looks like Graham is coming into the pits. Careful you don't cross over that yellow line, otherwise you're going to pick up a penalty. And then we've got Kebabman's down in 10th. So Hodgie has had to retire, which is a shame. So some technical difficulties for Hodgie, just lost all power in his car. So Hodgie has retired. We are down to 10 as Paul still out in front. He's got 7.5 second gap back to Smoky Tom, although Paul is going to have to pit for fuel very shortly. You can just see right on cue the fuel light starting to flash. Quick swig of juice set. Now, I thought Paul was going to come in, but he's not. He's decided he can get at least one more lap. The tyres are not too bad. It's fuel more than anything for Paul. So Paul is going to stay out. Smoky Tom, he will definitely be taking that race leader position away from Paul when Paul does come in. So we will carry on from where we left off the first part of the race, where Smoky Tom was out in front. As we thought, yeah, Hodgie had some technical issues, which has forced him to retire, which is a real shame. I'm sure he will be back for next week's race. Not quite sure where they are next week. I can try and find out. I'll have a look in a bit, and we'll see if we can. I can tell you where we're going to be. If you can all bear with me, we are more than likely we will be at Monza next week. So yeah, I'm sure Hodgie will be back, or it may be Fuji. I'm not sure. It's either Monza or Fuji. Well, it'll be somewhere, won't it? So I'm sure Hodgie will be back. Brian Moncani, he's out now on the hard tyres, 12 seconds behind Smoky Tom. Just over 2 seconds in front of Willard, who's sitting in 4th position. He's on the mediums. Hodgie say he's gutted for dropping out, and I'm sure he is. All of the guys that go out on track, doesn't matter where they finish in a race, they just do it because they love the racing. So I do feel your pain, Hodgie. It's happened to me once or twice, and yeah, it's not nice. You just want to be out there, like I say, racing. So let's just have a look as Paul comes into the pit. So Smoky Tom takes over the lead once again. Back out where he started the race, leading the way. And he is on a purple sector as well. Now he's got the medium tyres on, so that fastest lap from TG, or 1:35.5, looks under threat from Smoky Tom. Really isn't sparing the horses, is he? He's got a 13.5 second lead over Brian Moncani, which will soon go up to just over 14 when Brian serves that 1 second penalty. Willard sitting behind Brian, he's also picked up a penalty, but only half a second. Willard, one of the drivers that's come over from a different league, the BFER, and I mentioned it at the start, it's fantastic to see them on track with the URL guys. So Willard currently in 3rd. He's not going to lose track position. He's now served his penalty. He's still going to be sitting in 3rd. Brian has served his penalty, so that has allowed Willard to catch up. You can see Brian just in front of him. He's only just over 1.7 seconds in front. Then we've got Cherry Bomb down in 4th. But then the fight is on for 5th. We've got Dizzy Rip in 5th with Paul all over him. Paul on the hards, a brand new set of hards and a full tank of fuel for Paul. What's Dizzy? Dizzy's on the medium tyres and they are looking worn. So I'm expecting over the next 2 or 3 laps, if Paul can maintain this pressure, he will be taking that 5th spot away from Dizzy. Paul does some on his YouTube channel. Paul does some fantastic track guides to help people out. So if you are struggling on a certain track, then head over to Paul's YouTube and check some of his track guides out. They really are helpful. And his YouTube is the address you can see above his car, URL_Paul_E_72. So yeah, some great content on Paul's channel, so as I say, do head over and check them out. So his teammate Chuck in 7th. So we've got, is it the Tactar team all together? Paul, Chuck and Graham, not close enough to help each other out at the minute. Graham needs to get a little bit closer to Chuck to get in his slipstream. Remember, bump drafting is allowed, but only with the teammates. But Graham and Chuck are in the perfect position to do just that. If Graham can get that little bit closer to Chuck. Chuck on a new set of medium tyres and a fresh tank of fuel. Graham on worn softs and only 1/4 of a tank, so Graham is going to have to come into the pits before Chuck does. But if he can get into the slipstream, that's certainly going to help with his fuel. He just seems to be struggling to catch up with Chuck at the minute, doesn't he? We've got Kebabans in 9th. He looks like he's got some damage on the front. You can see the front bumper flashing, so he's obviously had a bump somewhere along the lines. These cars are all fitted with the latest technology, these nanobots, so they are self-repairing. It takes about 30 to 40 seconds, but the cars do repair themselves, so Kebabmans will be back up to full strength very shortly once the nanobots have finished doing what they do. Currently in 9th, and then we've got Grasshopper down in 10th. He had a fantastic start to this race, came on stock on lap 2 or 3 and never really seemed to recover from it. He's had another pit stop though, which would explain why he's down in 10th. He's on the racing hard. Didn't take any fuel on, it looks, so he may just be doing the compulsory run on the hard tyres. Remember, all compounds have to be used, so Grasshopper just, as I say, doing his run on the hard tyres. He'll be coming in very shortly to get rid of them and get back on the softs or mediums. I think the mediums seem to be the better tyres on this track. Since the update, mediums seem to last that little bit longer than the softs, and obviously they're a lot better than the hards. When I say last a little bit better, the softs seem to wear out really quickly, but the mediums not so. So they do seem to be the tyre of choice. And Smoky Tom did a fantastic job on them. He's nearly 21 seconds ahead of Brian Moncani. Brian on the hards though. Cherry Bomb down in 3rd, currently 26 seconds behind Smoky Tom. Willard has come into the pits, currently in 6th. Oh, he's back out, so Willard back out in 6th. Didn't lose his track position. And as Graham comes in, so Graham changing. Oh, you can see the front left is about on that car. So Graham comes in, new boots all round, and a full tank of fuel for Graham. As Grasshopper goes across the start finish line, is he going to take that position away from Graham? It looks like he has. So Grasshopper moves up into 9th. Graham's going to come out in 10th. You can see Graham now coming out of the pits. So fastest lap still held by Tiju, and it looks like Tiju has gone as well. He has, so we've lost Tiju as well. So that's 2 we've had retire from this race. We're 36 minutes in and 2 retirements. But Tiju's still with that current fastest lap of 1:35.5. As we watch Smoky Tom just getting further and further away from Brian. Brian struggling now on those hards. He'll want to get in and get rid of them, I'm sure, as fast as he can. Now, if you do enjoy these races, then remember, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, if you do so, you will be notified of all upcoming races. We do cover Wednesdays, Saturdays, Sundays is our main league. We've got 5 leagues running on a Sunday, and the new championship will be starting at the beginning of September. We have a new multi-class league starting on, I believe, is the 28th of August on a Wednesday. So that will be fantastic. We've got Group 1 and Group 3 cars on the track at the same time. Our Saturday multi-class, here we are about halfway through that season. That is currently running, well, they're just having a break at the minute. A few people on holiday, but that will be resuming in, I think, a week or so. So there is plenty going on. So if you do fancy a bit of this, if you think you can do better than these guys, or you just want to get involved, then visit the website URL ultimateracingligue.com, or check out the Facebook page, URL Facebook page, and we can get you signed up and get you on track. Cherry Bomb into the pits then, currently in 4th. We will drop to 5th as Dizzy Rip goes through. Now Willard is just going around turn 10, coming up to 11, and then back onto the start finish straight. So is Willard going to get in front of Cherry Bomb, or is Cherry Bomb Going to get out. No, Cherry Bomb's managed to get out. So Cherry Bomb out in 5th. Willard a little closer, but still a long way back. As Chuck comes into the pits as well. Chuck currently in 7th. Looks like he will lose that place to Kebabman's. He's got some damage at the front as well, and we can just see the Kebabman's is just going to go by as he goes around turn 1. Chuck's still in the pits, so Kebabman's go through to take 7th. Chuck drops down to 8th. You can see Chuck is coming out of the pits now as Graham takes turn 11. Graham is coming into the pits as well. Graham with some damage at the front, so a lot of people picking up some damage. Grasshopper down in 10th, so back up to our race leader, who's just getting further and further away. It's Smoky Tom. Doesn't need to do anything silly. We've got 20 minutes of this race left. He will be coming in shortly though, I'm sure. Both the tyres are starting to look worn and the fuel is starting to go down as well, so Smoky Tom will be coming in. He's obviously just trying to get as much distance as he can between himself and Brian. He doesn't know how much fuel Brian's got, but Brian is going to have to pit at the end of this lap. You can see the fuel light flashing, so that will really please Smoky Tom when he sees that Brian dives into the pits. Now whether Smoky Tom will decide to come in at the end of this lap or he's going to stay out again, but as I say, as soon as he sees that Brian's into the pits, that will really put a big grin on his face. Quite scary, isn't it, when you look at Smoky Tom's car and you see, oh dear, what's happening? Look at that for a driver. That is not what you want to see when you're looking in your rear view mirror, is it? But as Smoky Tom does stay out around turn 1 and then up into turns 2, 3, then 4. So Smoky Tom stays out now. Is Brian going to come in? No, Brian has decided to stay out as well. He's really going to push the limits of that fuel tank. I'd be interested to see if Brian can get all the way round on that. He's going to have to be very frugal with his fuel, is Brian. We'll keep an eye on that one. He's obviously worked it out. Paul in 3rd. Now Paul will take over that 2nd position from Brian Moncani. He's only 8 seconds behind him. So when Brian does pit, as long as he doesn't run out of fuel, but when Brian does pit, Paul will take over that 2nd position. So where is Brian? Brian is just going around turn 6 now, down towards turn 7, the toe. This right-hander, as you go up the hill, up through the boot, towards the heel. Like I said, bit of a theme going on with this track and the corner names, but the heel is turn 8, this right hander, then up the hill again to turn 9. Now I'm sure Brian is fuel saving now because well, he's going to make it, and hats off to him if he calculated that. But he is into the pits. Now Smoky Tom is in the pits, but he will be really pleased to see that Brian's came into the pits as well. Now Smoky Tom is on his way out, so Paul will go by Brian as we said, but he's not going to be able to take that first spot away from Smoky Tom, but he is going to get a lot closer to him. So Paul in 2nd, and he, what, 2.5 seconds now behind Smoky Tom, although Paul is on the hard tyres, Smoky Tom is on the softs. So Smoky Tom will be really looking to get his foot on that noisy pedal and get some decent laps in before those tyres start to disappear on him. Remember, Smoky Tom got himself on pole position with a 134, I can't remember point something, but he was definitely in the 34s. So Smoky will be looking to do that again. Definitely wants to get away from Paul, doesn't he? Get some distance between himself and especially Brian Moncani, who was sitting in second for a long while. But Brian's back out now. He's on the fresh set of mediums, 3/4 of a tank of fuel. And in fourth, Dizzy Rip in third. Dizzy Rip is going to have to come in. It's got damage to the front bumper and it looks like his front wheel as well, so I'm not quite sure what Dizzy Rip has hit. So Dizzy Rip will lose that third position to Brian Moncani. Brian is only 3.5 seconds behind Dizzy Rip. So Dizzy Rip will be into the pits. I think he's probably doing well to come at. Yeah, he's got his front left has gone completely red, so he'll have no grip whatsoever on the front left, so he's actually doing well to keep that car on track. So Dizzy Rip stays to the right and goes into the pit entry. Brian goes through to take that third position. So with just under 15 minutes of this race left, we'll have a look down the order as Smoky Tom comes to lap Grasshopper. Now that is something we don't see very often, Grasshopper being lapped, but he has been. He moves out of the way to let Smoky Tom through. Grasshopper has got a penalty to serve as well, as we see Paul come round in second. Paul starting to lose a little bit of ground on Smoky Tom. He's now 3.5 seconds behind. But Paul is going to be right up behind Grasshopper now, so Grasshopper's going to have to move out of his way and let Paul through. Paul on the hard tyres, remember. Smoky on the softs. So whether Paul will come in again before the end of the race to get back onto some soft tyres, we don't know, as Grasshopper moves to the left to let Paul through. Paul may well just see this race out now. He's got a decent gap back to Brian Moncani. About 27.5 seconds between Paul and Brian. So if Paul can make these tyres and fuel last, it'll probably do him to stay out there, but he'll be keeping an eye on it. If that time starts to come down between himself and Brian, then Paul may well dive into the pits, put some softer tyres on. We shall see. So Willard in fourth. He's about 8.7 seconds away from Brian Moncani. He's having a bit of a lonely race now in fourth. Nearest to him is Cherry Bomb, who is 17 seconds away. Then there's a gap then back to Dizzy Rip in sixth, Chuck in seventh. Then we've got Grasshopper we've seen in eighth, just serving another penalty. Started so well, Grasshopper. The first few laps he was really challenging Smoky Tom for the lead, for the race lead. Had a bit of an issue going into the chicane, and that just seemed to completely put him off. Never really recovered after that. Kebabman's in ninth. So Paul is into the pits, as we thought he might do. So it'll be interesting to see what tyres he's gone for. We have about 12 minutes left, so he doesn't need a full tank of fuel. So just nearly 3/4 for Paul, and back out. Now then, he has Brian, you can see there on the left, Brian is just going to go through, so Brian goes through, Paul drops to third, but Paul is now out on the soft tyres. Brian on the mediums. So Paul about 2 seconds behind Brian now. He's got to get them tyres up to temperature, and he's got just over 10 minutes of this race left if he wants to get that second podium spot. So he's really got to get those tyres up to temperature quickly. Brian, I'm sure he will make it to the end of the race on this set of mediums. They are slightly warm, but still plenty of life left in those medium tyres on Brian's car. So this is going to be a fantastic race between second and third. Brian on the mediums, Paul on the softs. Our race leader, Smoky Tom, has just absolutely run away with it. The only way Smoky Tom is going to lose this race is if Smoky Tom messes it up. Excuse me. So there we go. We have 10 minutes left of this first race. Brian in second with Paul catching quickly. There is only just under a 1.5 second gap now between the two of them. Let's go on board with Paul as we go across the start finish line down towards turn 1. This right hander, don't go too far. Oh, now then Paul. What? That's a disaster for Paul. That is a real disaster for Paul. He was having a fantastic race up to that point. The tyres probably not up to temperature. He took turn 1, went too wide, got himself high on the curb, and that's just unsettled the car and threw him out. 1.5 second penalty and dropped to 4th position. He will be absolutely cursing. He was having a fantastic race, and that's probably my fault because we jumped in the car with him and probably put him off. Commentators curse, it always happens, and I am sorry, Paul, for doing that to you. Now Smoky Tom in the pits for his last stop. He is 30 seconds in front of Brian Moncani, so he should get out ahead of Brian. Brian only going around turn 9, so Smoky Tom will get out in the lead again as Brian goes around turn 10, then 11, and onto the start finish straight. And Smoky Tom is out of the pits and back onto the track. Hey there, Craig. Smoky is looking hot. He's out in front and has controlled this race right from the start. Only 10.5 seconds separating the two of them, but Smoky is out now on a fresh set of soft tyres. He will be really getting his foot down, and I'm sure Smoky Tom is going to be looking for the fastest lap as well. Brian Moncani in second on the mediums. He has picked up a 1 second penalty. Wow, that's not going to help his cause. It's not going to affect his track position with Willard being 16, nearly 17 seconds away from him. But that's going to stop Brian catching up to the back of Smoky Tom. Paul, who we've just seen, has just had that disaster at turn 1. He's still got front bumper damage. That is taking forever to fix itself. The nanobots must be on a go slow or a work to rule or something, but that is taking forever for that damage to repair. But Paul in 4th now. He's got some work to do if he wants to get on the podium. 3.5 seconds away from Willard. Willard is on the hard tyres though, and they are worn. So this is going to be an interesting run in. We've got about 6.5 minutes of this first 60-minute race left. Willard currently in 3rd with Paul chasing him down. We are now under 3 seconds gap between the two. Paul has got just over 6 minutes. So we are looking at around 2.5, 3 laps. Cherry Bomb in 5th, He again in turn 2.5 seconds away from Paul. He can see him just up ahead. Then we've got Chuck in 6. He's under a bit of pressure from Dizzy Rip. Dizzy Rip tyres not looking fantastic. He's got damage to the rear right. This track has really been punishing on these cars. We've got Grasshopper in 8th. Kebabmans is in 9th, with Graham in the pits in 10th. So back up to our race leader. Now he's opened up a massive gap again now, 15.5 seconds away from Brian. Brian has managed to get by Grasshopper. Grasshopper being lapped. So Brian in 2nd. He will make it to the end of the race on those tyres. Willard, this is where the race is going to be. Willard currently on the podium at the minute in 3rd, with Paul chasing him down. I'm just looking at the times. Paul is getting closer. He definitely is getting closer, but we don't want any mistakes from Paul again if he's going to catch up with Willard and take that 3rd podium spot. Although Cherry Bomb is getting closer to Paul, so Paul's going to have one eye on the mirror, and also one eye on Willard out in front of him. So let's go on board with Cherry Bomb. I was going to say we'll have a look, but we've got, well, I don't know what that is, but it's just blocking the view, isn't it? It's yeah. If somebody wants to tell me what it is, as Cherry Bomb really gets right onto the back of Paul, and he makes a move on him. He goes around the long way round, but he's got it done. A fantastic move from Cherry Bomb to take 4th position away from Paul, and he is now chasing Willard as we enter the chicane through the inner loop, over the curves. Don't take too much of them. Onto the outer loop, this sweeping long right-hander. Then we start down the hill, go down the chute through turn 6, still going downhill, down towards turn 7, the toe, this sweeping right-hander, and then we start back up the hill. Cherry Bomb all over now. Willard up towards turn 8. Cherry was definitely screaming up through there. Now turn 9, this left-hander, all the while Cherry Bomb getting closer and closer to Willard. It does look like Willard's struggling a little bit. So look, Willard on the hards, Cherry Bomb on the mediums. Now Cherry Bomb is going to be looking to get right under the bumper of Willard. Willard goes defensive, pulls to the inside. Good defending from Willard. Holding on to that 3rd spot at the minute, but how long can he keep Cherry Bomb behind him? Cherry Bomb really putting the pressure on now as they go through turns 3 and 4 onto the back straight. Now the race is on to get to that chicane. Who's going to get there first? Willard again goes defensive. He sticks to the right, comes back out again so he can make the chicane. Great racing from these two. Willard really doesn't want to give up that 3rd podium spot, does he? We are just coming up to 2 minutes of this race left, and this is where the action seems to be. We've got Smoky Tom, who is way out in front. Brian Moncani in 2nd under no pressure at all, but this is where it's happening. Willard, oh, as Cherry Bomb goes through now, then was there a touch? I think Willard just opened the door a little bit and Cherry Bomb dived through it. Was there a touch? I'm not sure. Cherry Bomb has held on to that 3rd position though, so he feels it was a fair move. If it wasn't, he would have given the place back, I'm sure. But Cherry Bomb has moved up into 3rd as we have a minute and a half left. Willard in 4th. Willard, he's going to fight back. Paul down in 5th. He's got Kebabmans all over him. Sorry, what happened there? Oh no, sorry, Paul has lapped Kebabmans. I thought Kebabmans are challenging. Anyway, let's go back up to our race leader, if I can get there. Smoky Tom has just lapped his teammate Dizzy Rip, as Smoky Tom goes around turn 7. This will be, I'm sure, well, he may well get another lap in. We'll keep an eye on this one as Smoky Tom goes around turn 8. As the guys will start to finish, we're going to keep an eye on our race leader, Smoky Tom, around turn 9 up to 10, with just under 30 seconds left. So I think Smoky Tom may well get another lap in. Around turn 11, he's got his teammate for company. And across the line, so Smoky Tom does get another lap in. So who's going to finish first? It looks like Brian Moncani might finish first, unless it is Dizzy Rip. No, it will be Brian. So Brian finishes second. Fantastic race for him. Cherry Bomb, what a brilliant last few laps. As you see, Grasshopper go across the line in 8th, but Cherry Bomb is going to take 3rd. Willard has dropped off the pace a bit now, as we see Cherry Bomb. You can see the checkered flag, you can see how pleased he is with that. So well done to Cherry Bomb. Willard, fantastic racing from him to take 4th. Kebabman's crosses the line in 9th. Paul is going to take 5th. Paul really unlucky. A few laps ago to have that spin at turn 1 when he was up there on the podium. Chuck is going to cross the line in 6th. Well done to Chuck. Craig Brown says, great job Brian, Cherry Bomb did well getting into 3rd. Well done everyone. Smoky Tom. Dizzy Rip is going to come in 7th. You can see he's getting a bit of a tow from his teammate who's already finished. So Dizzy Rip across the line in 7th. Cheers, Craig. So that was race 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember, hit the like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, then please do so. It will help us out. Thank you very much for watching, and we shall catch you again very shortly.